right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, the latest update from Quint Beastwood. He says this was taken yesterday, and today is Thursday, so we're 2 days out now from the Tsunami Pro France. So these pictures were 3 days out. And I think at this point, I feel very comfortable still saying that I think Quinton is the favorite to win this show. I think he is going to win, and I really hope that he does. I think this has been by far the best year that Quinton has ever had, some of the best looks that he's ever had without a doubt. Second place 3 times this year. I really think this is the one. I think he looks great in these updates. He said in the caption that this is before he started carbing up, so he says in his own words he's a little bit flat in these updates. But I still think he looks great, and I think this is going to be the show that he wins. And I think this is probably, realistically, it's probably the best scenario for him. Because he's essentially, if he wins this show, he's going to essentially be winning the very earliest possible qualification for next year's Olympia, 2026. And realistically, had he won, let's say he won his last show and qualified last minute for this year's Mr. Olympia, realistically, he did 3 shows before that show that he wasn't able to win. So as nice as it would have been to see him on the Olympia stage, and I think he belongs up there, realistically, had he lost 3 shows and then won 1 show to get to the Olympia this year, I don't know if he would have been ready to really do some damage at the Olympia. He would have likely, had he qualified and competed this year, I think he likely would have been outside of the top 10. But now, if he wins this show, and then he has all year, and then some, to focus only on next year's Olympia, take some time to work on some of his weaker points, maybe his back. Now that it seems like he's kind of figuring out the formula and bringing these really good, best-conditioned versions of his physique, he has a whole year to try to improve and then focus only on the Olympia. I mean, you got to consider he's tried to peak his physique. This will be the 5th time now. He would have had to peak his physique 4 times before the Olympia. 4 preps. I think that also would have impacted how he looked if he had qualified for 2025. And I don't think we would have seen the best Quinton at the Olympia. And I don't think he would have done a ton of damage. Whereas if he qualifies very early for next year, and then he has all year to kind of map things out and tweak things and make improvements, then we could be talking about a different conversation with how he's going to do at the Olympia. So I personally think, I hope that he wins this show, and I think it's probably the best case scenario for him. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, the latest updates from James Hollingshead, who joined this Tsunami Pro lineup. These were posted by Chris Tuttle on his story, and the closer that I look at some of these recent updates of James, I'm looking at his arms, like in the picture that Chris posted today of James hitting the most muscular, like the hands on thighs, most muscular. I feel like his arms look a little downsized. You know, you look at James typically in a prep picture, and you're really looking at his condition. He's in good condition here. He looks good. But to me, he looks pretty downsized, and I noticed it first in the arms. But then I looked at his shoulders, too. His shoulders don't look like the crazy big round cap delts that we see from like a prime full big James Hollingshead. James has a really good lower body, and when you look at his lower body, you still see pretty good size to his legs, gnarly looking detail and condition in his legs. When he's from the side, when he's from the front, when he's from the back, his legs always look pretty damn impressive. But when you kind of block that out and you don't look at the lower body and you just look at his upper body in some of these updates, he does look a little downsized. He doesn't look, something looks off about him in the size department. I think he's going to be in good shape. I think he's going to be in condition. And the reason I'm talking about James, because I think, we're talking about guys in this lineup that I think are going to be the biggest threat to Quinton. I think James is a real wild card in this lineup. But looking at what we're seeing from him now, and then, we just looked at this update from Quinton. I'll even put it side by side for you guys here. The most muscular from Quinton and the most muscular from James. I mean, just look at the size of Quinton's arms and delts compared to James's in that shot. And James is no small guy. And we're talking about an update from Quinton where Quinton even said he hasn't carved up yet. He's a little flat in this picture. But look how much bigger the arms and delts look. And again, they're hitting the post differently, so that's part of it. But I don't know how big of a threat James is really going to be to Quinton here. And I was very optimistic about Stefan Matala. We have not seen a single update from him since he parted ways with Patrick Tor. And that last update was at 2 weeks out. And to me, just in the back of my mind now, I don't necessarily think he's going to be a threat to win this show just based on that whole controversy. I think it's going to be Quinton. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, particularly about how James is looking here. And then I think another guy in the Tsunami Pro lineup that's worth mentioning here is Louis Breed. Louis Breed looked really impressive at both the Europa show and the Italy show. And he looks great in these latest updates, which he says were 5 days out. His condition was amazing at both shows. His condition looks like it's going to be amazing here. But at the Europa show, he was 6th, and he looked fantastic at the Europa show. But he was 6th, and Quinton was 2nd. So he was 4 placings behind Quinton the last time they went head-to-head. And he was like at his all-time best. He looked fantastic at that show. But will he be good enough to beat Quinton based on the last 2 times that they competed together where he looked fantastic? I just don't see him beating him here either unless Quinton is really off. And I'm looking back at the competitor list now for this weekend show, and it looks like Theo LaGuerrier's name is no longer on this list. I don't know why they took it off, but we talked about Lewis, we talked about James, we talked about Quinton. You've got Hassan Mustafa. I haven't been super impressed with some of the updates that we've seen from him. I don't necessarily see him beating Quinton. Stefan Matala was kind of a wild card. We talked about him a lot. You know, Tim Budesheim, kind of the same thing. We saw him go head-to-head with Quinton a couple times now and hasn't really even come close to Quinton at these shows. I think that Quinton is going to win this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, Big Ramy. I was looking at his stories. He reposted a couple stories from an appearance that he did this weekend at, I believe it's called Max Pump Gym. And so this is the most recent series of photos that we've seen of Big Ramy. So I'm going to hyper-analyze these because, again, a little bit earlier this year, Big Ramy was reposting and posting a bunch of stuff about competing at the Olympia this year, saying winter is coming, he's going to win his title back, 2025 is the year. Then we didn't hear anything else from Ramy really again. And with this being the most recent pictures of Ramy taken this week, and he is right around 2 weeks out from the Olympia if he's competing, I'm hyper-analyzing these again here, but if you zoom in on his face, a lot of times when Ramy is competing in the Olympia, we're always talking about Ramy having the death face, really sucked in, dry. You look at his face here, and again, this would be 2 weeks out if he's competing. His cheeks are very full, very puffy. Again, super hyper-analyzing, but it just is what it is. That's what I'm seeing in these pictures. It doesn't look like we're going to see him compete. I don't know if that really surprises anybody because we haven't heard or really seen anything from him. But again, hyper-analyzing, you zoom in on his arm there, you're not really seeing a lot of vascularity in his arm. And again, it's kind of cringe, hyper-analyzing, but he doesn't really look like he's peeled. You're not seeing, it looks like you can see, you know, the skin is a little bit thicker in his arm, kind of obscuring the veins in his forearm there. It doesn't look like he's 2 weeks out from competing, so I wouldn't hold your breath about seeing Ramy on stage. But I suppose anything could happen. If I were Ramy, I do think it would be kind of a cool move to just not say anything, and because he's qualified for life, because he won 2 times recently, it would be kind of a cool move to just not say or show anything and then just show up on the stage and surprise everybody. That would be a cool move, and I would like to see him do that. But I'm not holding my breath for that, especially after seeing these recent pictures. And I don't know, like when I look at this, it's really hard to tell because he's pretty covered up. But when I look at this, he doesn't look that massive to me either. He doesn't look like, I mean, to me, he doesn't look like he's over 300 pounds in this picture. His shoulders don't look as capped or as wide. But again, it's all just kind of cringe speculation. He's wearing a shirt. But I just think the chances are slim that we do see him compete at the Olympia this year. I don't know what it was. I don't know what that was all about. Like the couple weeks that he was just like posting a ton of stuff about competing at the Olympia, winning his title back this year, and the winter is coming stuff. I don't know if he changed his mind after that or what. Or again, maybe we do see him like pull a, just random show up thing at prejudging. But I guess we will know in about a week because what we look at going into the Olympia is the qualified competitor list, but just like any other show, that Monday before the Olympia, they should publish their official competitor list on the IFBB website. So it wouldn't really be as simple as Ramy just showing up randomly at prejudging and nobody knows. That Monday competitor list, his name should be on it if he's doing it. So we should know for sure the Monday before, which is only a week away at this point. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Will we see Big Ramy on the Olympia stage this year, yes or no? Now, next up in the news, another physique update from none other than Goodvito Vitaly Ugonikov, showing off his absolutely insane quads. And I think that Vito is definitely a guy to keep an eye on over these next couple of weeks, like we talked about in yesterday's video. Apparently he's sick. I don't really know how sick he is, but looking at this update, it certainly doesn't look like it's impacting his physique that negatively. I mean, he looks insane. His leg looks ridiculous in this update. But I think he's definitely one to watch over these next couple weeks in case he does pull out, in case something does happen with him. We don't know how sick he is. He's got the sore throat. He says he's taking medication. But we are very close to the show, so this is not when you want to be getting sick, obviously. But based on this update, you wouldn't think he's sick. He looks absolutely crazy. And I just saw a list earlier today. Let me pull it up here. It was Muscle Insight HQ posted this. And so this is everyone that we should be thinking about, that this is their open Olympia debut. So of these guys, obviously we've talked a lot about lately. Jordan Hutchinson is another one. Rubiel Mosquera, Sas Harati, Brett Wilkin, Shen Chang Long, Dorian Haywood, who won the Masters Olympia, and Goodvito. So you've got 8 guys making their open bodybuilding Olympia debut this year. I think of the 8 guys, the 2 that I think will place the highest are and Goodvito. And then I think after that, I would say Brett, Rubiel, Jordan. And then Sas, Chen, and Dorian would probably be in my bottom 3 of the 8. So I'd say my top 5 of the 8 would be Jordan, Rubiel, Brett, and Goodvito. And honestly, I feel like of all those guys, I feel like Goodvito is the guy that I'm feeling could place the highest of all the newcomers. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Based on this list, who places the highest of all the Olympia debuts? If we're talking about top 10, I might actually do an Olympia prediction video this year. I haven't done one in years because there's really no point. It never ends up being, no one ever predicts the Olympia exactly how it's going to be. But I might do one this year because it's so interesting to speculate about all these newcoming guys. Because when you compare the top 10 last year to what the top 10 could be this year with this many new guys that are really good, and then you've got Nick Walker coming back as well, that top 10 at the Olympia could look so very different this year. And then, of course, Beirut is another one that's not even on this list. If Beirut actually makes it, that's another one. So add Beirut and Nick to this list, there's literally 10 guys right there that were not there last year that could totally change that top 10, like drastically. I would even say right now, let's say Beirut is there, you take Beirut, Nick, Goodvito, let's just take those 4 guys. I think all 4 of them will be in the top 10. I think Nick certainly, I think Beirut certainly. That's 4 placings in the top 10 that they were not there last year. They're just 4 placings where those are 4 guys that are going to be kicked out of the top 10 because I think all 4 of those guys have a very good shot at moving in. Then let alone you talk about maybe Nexzilla cracks the top 10, maybe Brett Wilkin cracks the top 10, maybe Jordan. You could really have a vastly, vastly different top 10 this year. Even those 4 guys, including Nick, changes half of the top 10. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel, and consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.